Hey, what's going on guys? How is everybody doing? In today's video, we'll be going over several team comps for QiQi. One of the most versatile heroes of Genshin Impact, QiQi can perform as a top tier player in any role you set her in. We'll be taking a look at what elemental reactions we'll want to make a priority when choosing teammates, what elemental resonances we can take advantage of, and several team comps that will be aimed at utilizing QiQi's strengths of being nigh impossible to kill. We'll be discussing team comps from the best of the best to those easily accessible to free-to-play players. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video. If you want an in-depth look at QiQi before diving into this guide, you can check out the companion video to this one, my full in-depth guide on QiQi. Link will be in the description. But as a quick summary, QiQi can be classified as a DPS hero, a support hero, or a healer. Her skill and burst provide consistent cryo-elemental damage and heals to your full team even when she leaves the battlefield. Elemental reactions can make or break a team. In case you're unfamiliar with the elemental reactions, their effects, and how they interact with one another, I'll be putting a handy chart on screen so that you can familiarize yourself. I'll also leave a link to this down below in the description so that you can download this for yourself. When we look at the reactions available to us for QiQi for damage purposes, Superconduct will provide us the most consistent and overall damage increase across the board. Superconduct will be our most utilitarian reaction, as its damage boost will carry across to all of our heroes. We can also get maximum elemental damage through the Melt reaction. Because this reaction can scale with our critical hits, dealing double damage when triggered by a Pyro hero, we can achieve massive damage numbers. Freeze and Swirl are the other reactions we can take a look at. These reactions I'm not going out of my way to build around, as they lend themselves more to added benefits since they don't affect our overall damage in as significant ways as both Melt and Superconduct. Freeze will be most useful to our healing and mixed builds, as these builds will focus more on the survivability of QiQi and the team, and Swirl will be a nice bonus to have, as it will make our reactions easier to trigger, but it's not necessary, only an added enabler. Moving on to elemental resonances, Fervent Flames will provide the most benefits to QiQi's performance herself. Fervent Flames will provide a solid 25% attack boost, both increasing the amount of damage QiQi can deal as well as boosting her heals even more. Shattering Ice, while not a huge benefit to QiQi, will help boost the damage of whoever your main DPS is. Because QiQi can fill both the role of a DPS unit or a healer, it shouldn't be too difficult to add in another cryo hero to get an extra crit buff. Before looking at team comps, there are a few things that I want to address. First, not all teams are created equally and do not do the same amount of damage as others. You'll need to figure out for yourself which heroes you enjoy playing and which playstyles fit you. Second, these teams are not end-all be-all teams. That is to say, the heroes I'll have listed here are not the only ones you can use per comp. So because of this, if there's an alternative hero I like, I'll make that known on screen. Lastly, if you're looking at these teams for Abyss comps, make sure to keep in mind the elements that you'll need for the specific floor you're on. Just because one team may have a higher potential DPS than another does not make it the better team for the Abyss. Use your best judgment if that is your end goal. Now, with that out of the way, let's talk team comps. The first team we'll talk about I like to call a pump team. This team will have all the tools needed to continuously increase the damage dealt by all party members. This team features QiQi, Mona, Bennett, and Venti. With this team, you'll want a full set of Noblesse Oblige on QiQi so that she can also fill the role that Mona and Bennett fill, which is, after using their burst, some kind of damage bonus will be applied. For Mona, that will be enemies taking extra damage. For Bennett, a portion of his attack will be applied to the hero currently inside the seal he creates, as long as they have 70% HP or more, unless you have further constellations of his. Venti's purpose here is to round up enemies and deal massive swirl damage. We could also replace Venti with Sucrose to have a similar effect, although she won't actively pull in most enemies. They'll have to be fairly close together. I also like having Fischl in the slot. She doesn't fill the same role as Venti or Sucrose, but she does provide a lot of elemental support as well as elemental coverage, opening the doors to additional damage from Overload and Electrocharged, and also the utility of Superconduct. If using this team for Abyss, she'll also help with any Fatui Hydro Gunners as they are weak against Electro. Next, we have a general coverage team that will work quite well for Abyss. Here we have one of my favorite elemental cores, Fischl and Xiangling. Both of these characters are extremely efficient at dealing their respective elemental damage, while together they can deal massive amounts of overload damage. Fischl and QiQi can proc superconduct reactions, increasing the physical damage of our entire team, which will be beneficial if you should decide to build your support heroes for their elemental damage instead. In this composition, we'll take Barbara as a supplemental healer. The way this team is built, it is very effective at taking down a smaller number of more powerful units. However, if you're going up against a large number of mobs, using Venti will help out this team a lot, and we'll be replacing Xiangling with him, as keeping Fischl maintains our superconduct reactions, helping to boost QiQi's normal attack. Next, let's take a look at teams with QiQi filling more of a supporting role. First up, this team features Chongyun and Xingqiu as our main damage core. This is an incredibly fun combo to use because Chongyun's skill turns all normal attacks into cryo damage, and Xingqiu can do constant hard-hitting hydro damage with his burst. Together, they can keep enemies frozen almost indefinitely, allowing you to take down big enemies with ease. QiQi helps provide supplemental cryo damage while also providing extra damage with her burst if utilizing the Noblesse Oblige set. She also fills out the second piece of the Shattering Ice Resonance, improving our crit rate and overall damage output. Barbara fills out the second resonance, Soothing Waters, improving the healing of 3 out of 4 of our heroes, making this team incredibly resilient. As a support for a high damage unit like Klee, QiQi has multiple roles to play. First, when using Noblesse Oblige, she'll help provide a 20% attack boost to Klee. Next, when we add Kaya to the team, we'll get the boost of Shattering Ice, improving the crit rate of our team by 15%, which is very beneficial for a hero like Klee. Lastly, she'll consistently set up Cryo for Klee to come in and proc major damage from melt triggers. All of this while also providing heals for the team. Sucrose is here to group up Klee's leftover bombs and deal additional damage, while also increasing our unit's elemental mastery, helping us deal more damage from those melt procs. We can replace her with any other Anemo hero, though I believe Sucrose is best in the slot. Now we'll take a look at a team utilizing QiQi as the primary healer. The combination of Chongyun's skill plus the incredible pyro damage Diluc can do, tacked on with his innate crit rate, has the potential for absolutely insane damage. Xiangling will play a supporting role here, using her less for her normal attack and more for her skill and burst, so focus her on pyro damage. Adding QiQi in as a healer helps boost the already sky-high crit rate Diluc has through the Shattering Ice Elemental Resonance. If you want to adjust this team using another Claymore user instead of Diluc, I recommend switching to Kaya instead of Chongyun, because you won't have the benefit of creating the melt reaction, and because Chongyun's skill turns all normal attacks into cryo damage, it will negate the physical damage bonuses that will be beneficial to these units. Lastly, we'll take a look at a free-to-play team utilizing QiQi if you're lucky enough to pull her. QiQi and Kaya will be your core DPS pair. Xiangling could also take Kaya's position if you prefer her playstyle. Between these two, you'll have a solid cryo base to your team with a solid amount of self-sustain. Next, Lisa will be our budget Fischl. Her basic attack does electro elemental damage and makes triggering superconduct extremely easy, as well as her burst, lowering the defense of enemies. Finally, Noelle synergizes very well with this team, providing extra heals to cover when QiQi's skill and burst aren't up, but also doing massive physical damage with the boosts of superconduct and Lisa's burst. She'll also have the added benefit of helping to take care of enemies that have shields that make it difficult for our team to otherwise progress through. QiQi is an incredibly flexible hero and can find a place on almost any team. If you pull her, there's almost no scenario where you'll be upset in building her. Hopefully, you guys have found this team guide useful and it will help you in deciding which heroes to move forward and build. If you liked what you saw and want to see more content from me, head over to my Twitch page and give us a follow, or you can support me right here on YouTube by clicking subscribe and hitting the notification bell so that way you never miss a video. But guys, that's all I have for today. I hope that you did enjoy. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace.